PSG nil, Liverpool 1. The ultimate smash and grab. Absolutely brilliant. Amazing. But that's what the great teams do, isn't it? They weather storms, they go to elite teams, and somehow they come away with a win. PSG were unbeaten for 22 games. They'd won the last 10 in a row. And we went there and we faced a team that, I'll get into the game in a minute, but that was very, very impressive by PSG. 27 shots to 2 for PSG. 10 on target to the critical 1 on target. They had 71% possession to our 29%. 29%. Don't think I can remember us ever having below 30% in a game. And the other one, we're normally up around 85 to 90 plus percent pass accuracy. 74% we were at today. And PSG had 90%. They had 14 corners to our 2. So in every measure, apart from the one that matters, we were second best. But we won it. Great, resilient teams go to other great teams and they beat them. Or they find a way. They find a way to make sure that they get back to the second leg in good shape. And bloody hell, are we in good shape now? So on to the game. First half, no Gakpo. So Slot went with what I would say is probably our best starting 11. And it looked for about 5 minutes like this was going to be an interesting game. Liverpool had a couple of breaks very, very early on where you could actually see that PSG aren't that great defensively. But we never really made anything of them. And that was it. After the first 5 minutes, when I was actually encouraged, they absolutely took us to the cleaners for the next 40. To an extent that I actually was texting with one of my mates, Andy Madden, and I said, I can't remember us being battered in the first half like this. I can't remember the last time that was. And he sent back a text that said Istanbul. And he's right. It was one-way traffic for the entire first half. And we were all over the place. First of all, we got away with one because they were offside by about 2 inches when he curled home a beautiful shot. To be honest, I didn't see the offside. When it went in, I thought, we're not getting away with that one. It's going to be given. Then Kanate pushes their striker in the back. The referee doesn't give it, and I think that's what saved him because the referee could have easily just given the foul and flashed the red card and he'd have been off and there'd have been no debate. But he didn't give it. And so when it went to VAR, they're in the situation of saying, well, the referee saw it perfectly and didn't give it, so we shouldn't overrule it. But for me, it was a red card and we got away with it big time. Kanate does have that in him and he needs to stamp it out, but he's getting better at that all the time, but he got away with that today. Then the Allison show started. He made 2 or 3 brilliant saves in that first half to keep us in it. We were getting skinned on the wings. In the central areas where it was Gravenberch, Virgil and Kanate, they were basically overloading us. And we really didn't know which way to turn. And they were just pummeling us. And it was half time, it was 12 shots to 1, 5 on target to 0. And we had a 70% pass accuracy in that first half. We couldn't get out. Every time we tried to get out, we were misplacing it. We were in a bit of a panic. They'd unsettled us. And because they'd unsettled us, any time we did get the ball, we were nervous about what to do with it. One of the things we got wrong in that first half was when we did win the ball, they had like 7, 8 men high. And we were trying to pass through them. When we lost it, we were ambushed. They were just doing it time and time again. And we were losing it time and time again. So that had to change. So thank God we got through to half time because I thought Slot's going to change things here. He's going to have analysed what just happened and he's going to make a difference. So in the second half, they still kept coming at us and they still kept getting chances. But We were much more disciplined in our defensive approach. The gaps weren't there that they were finding in the first half. Now, that's not to say they still had some exceptional chances. And Allison brought off even more brilliant saves. But it was better. It was more controlled defensive organisation in that second half. And then after about 20 minutes of the second half, they started to fade. And for the first time in the game, they looked leggy and they looked like they'd run out of ideas, but they'd run out of legs as well. And we got about 3 or 4 chances in that second half where we sprung on them and we got a couple of 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, and we made the bollocks of them all. Every time we rushed it, we misplaced the pass. I just saw Slot's interview. He put it down to the fact that we defended so much that we were tired, and so we couldn't find the right pass. Might well have a point. But we had some glorious chances to break on them and hit them with a sucker punch, but we didn't take them. So 66 minutes, Darwin came on for Jota, added legs, added a bit more defending from the front, added a bit more energy. And as I say, we got these chances that we didn't take. But the Darwin change was a positive one and it worked. And then 86 minutes, everything changed. On came Harvey Elliott for Mo Salah. On came Endo for Gravenberch. And 47 seconds later, Curtis Jones had also come on. And Curtis Jones did brilliantly to end up winning us a throw-in, where he was being boxed off and he won us a throw-in. Then from the throw-in, the ball came back to Curtis Jones, who kept the ball brilliantly again and laid it off backwards towards our 18-yard box. The ball was then launched by Allison up to Darwin Núñez. He timed his run perfectly and he got on the end of it. And then when he brought it down, he used unbelievable composure to pass it to Harvey Elliott, who, by the way, when Curtis Jones knocked it back towards Allison, was in our final third. The ball from Núñez was the perfect weight, and Harvey, he didn't quite put it in the corner, but against a tall keeper, he couldn't get down to it, and I went mad here. It was incredible. The absolute ultimate smashing grab. There was one other thing that happened in the second half, which I think was key. They have a player called Kvaratskhelia. Is that how you say it? I don't know how you say it. But he was brilliant. And Luis Enrique took him off. And I actually wrote in the notes in the Facebook group, I'm like, oh, thank you, Luis Enrique, because I don't know why he took him off, because he was still their number one threat. Dembele was an amazing threat in the first half, but he went out of it in the second. This fella was superb, and he got taken off. That helped us big time as well. And then the last few minutes, the PSG, for everything they gave, they threw the towel in. So on to the shout-outs. Alisson Becker. The reporter asked him at the end, was that your best performance of the season? And Allison replied, the best of my life, probably. Well, it's not just the best performance of his life. It's the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen in my life. I've been watching all football. I'm not just talking about Liverpool displays here, for over 50 years. And that was the greatest display of goalkeeping I have ever seen. Everything about it was perfect. It's very rare that you can say that any player has a perfect game. That was a perfect game. And it wasn't just the quality of his saves, tipping goal-bound efforts around the post. Keepers can do that. But it was also the ones where they were fired at him and he either had to hold on to them or he had to palm them away. And every single time he palms the ball into areas of non-danger, which is an art by itself. Every single possible thing a goalkeeper can do to the maximum, he did it today. His position, his footwork, his concentration, his ability to fly through the air and tip miracle saves around the post. The way he got down and he scooped the ball away from danger. The way he punched when he needed to punch. The way he got down and smothered the goal-bound shots and didn't allow the incoming player to get a sniff of a rebound. It was astonishing. Absolutely astonishing display of goalkeeping. I don't think I'll ever see a better display than that. But you know what? The best teams are not the best teams just because they have the best goal scorers or just because they have the best midfield. It's because they have the best everything in all areas of the pitch. And while we have excelled in all 4 areas of the pitch today, today was the day where we needed one man to stand up, and he stood up like to an extent that's probably never been seen before. It was the most saves he's had in any game he has played for Liverpool. One of the commentators during the game said it's a 9 out of 10 performance. The other commentator said, why? Where does he lose a point? and he was right. On to the other shout-outs. Now, I'm going to have to combine these because the manager brought on 4 players again. Harvey Elliott, Darwin Núñez, Curtis Jones and Endo. And as he's done for the umpteenth time this season, those substitutions all made massive contributions. And these are players, lately he's criticised Darwin for his work rate. He's basically been freezing Harvey Elliott out from any game time at all, but he brought them on and both of them had a massive impact. Endo came on and sorted out the game like he always does. Curtis Jones came on and started giving us control of the ball at the vital time of the game. And the Midas touch happened again. This can't be coincidence that Arne Slot is doing this week in, week out, and substitutes are coming on and making a difference. That's why we not only have the best team, we have the best squad in the Premier League and potentially in Europe. So the shout-outs go to all of the substitutions and to Arne Slot. So, glad that's out the way. That was a very, very difficult 120 minutes or whatever it was. I was on edge for the whole time. But it's back to Anfield, a goal to the good, where it will be completely different. Completely different. No way are PSG going to even attempt to do what they did today, because at Anfield we will pick them off. So we couldn't possibly ask to be in a better position. And also, I just think we've just beaten the other best team in the tournament. I don't think, assuming we can get through in a second leg, I don't think we come up against any team better than PSG and can possibly put in the display as good as they did today. So we're on a high. It's an incredible win, but it's now back to the Premier League. Forget this and on to Southampton. We're at home to Southampton on Saturday with the chance of going 16 points clear. And a few days later, it's the second leg of PSG at home in a raucous Anfield. Does it get any better than this? I'll see you after Southampton. You never walk alone. Cheers. Ta-ra.